Today is all about remembering what a friggin' season we've had. I thought I would wear this top. This one's a copy. This one's not an original. Out of all the tops I have, this is probably the only top that isn't an original that was bought at the time it came out. But a few weeks ago, a lot of people said the channel. Oh, and before I forget, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's completely free for you to subscribe to the channel, and there's no monetary gain for me if you subscribe to the channel. So please do, as it's completely free, and it helps us get up to the target of 20,000 subscribers that we're looking for. Anyway, yesterday has to go down as one of the biggest meltdowns by a Rangers, and this time a Rangers supporter, and this time it wasn't the one and only Chris Boyd. No, it wasn't Chris Boyd. Let's listen to Kenny Miller.
Only one amongst us that thought that maybe wasn't a red card. Have you changed your mind at all after looking at it? What are your thoughts now?
No, listen, I understand why it's a red card in this day and age when you slow things down and you took the point of contact and again John Lewsom's foot's planted right against the side of Alistair Johnston's leg. But what I would say is, had VAR been there, nobody's moaning that that's not a red card. It was a yellow card. There's no doubt about it. So understand why it's a red card. When you see it in real time, yeah, it's fast. I always say this. Football, you need to... Well, come on. Hang fire, James. I've just gave you the reason why I don't think it's a red card.
It's a red card.
It's a yellow card for me. VAR comes in, intervenes, and it's clearly, when it slows that down, it's always going to be a red card when it gets called to the Monarch. Had it not been VAR, nobody would have asked for that to be a red card.
That's a red card in the 1970s, Kenny.
Absolutely not, Chris. That is not.
I think you need VAR to see the point of contact. I know you're speaking about slowing it down, but when you see it full pace, you can't see him above the ankle. He's out of control.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
He's in danger.
He's not. In fact, he's not out of control.
Of course he is.
No, he's not. He's running fast to go to a ball.
Yeah,
you need to run fast. Yeah, and he's allowed to slide, and he's allowed to run fast.
He's not allowed to put his studs on his above his ankle.
Yeah, but that's not out of control.
It's
not out of control.
So he meant it then?
What he meant Alistair Johnson, absolutely not. He meant to go and win the ball. Alistair Johnson plants his foot. He's not out of control.
Meltdown.
He is not out of control. Listen, this day and age, with VAR, slow down, that is a red card. I get it. But for me, if VAR's not there, nobody's moaning that's not a red card.
Everybody is.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, but Kenny, I'm honest here. And
Listen to
Kenny, he's cost. They got back into the game. It's reckless, and it's a fine line in these games. He's got to get, if he is going to go in, and I understand what he's trying to do, he's going to go in and leave one on, Alistair Johnson. I get that, because myself and Chris have done that over the years. But he's got it wrong, and he's late and he's high, and he could have done a lot more damage to Alistair.
And the best point about it is Chris Boyd is sitting there, and even he's cringing, and that's what makes it even better. It's even that Chris Boyd, the man who does the most Rangers meltdowns in history of television, is sitting there cringing, going, Kenny, come on, he's got his studs up. Everybody could see. You could see before it even went to VAR that he had his studs up, and that it was a red all day long. But Kenny Miller decided to have the meltdowns of all Rangers supporting media men live on television. And it was absolutely fantastic to watch. There's one thing that's for sure, it isn't over until the fat lady sings, and McCoist is currently getting ready to belt his bitchy. Anyway, even though we are 6 points ahead at the top of the table with 2 games to go, it is now mathematically possible for us to win the league. Well, it's mathematically impossible for us to lose the league, because if you look at the goal difference, but the players know that it's not done yet. Callum McGregor said after the game, we have 2 difficult games at Rugby Park, a difficult place to go. We lost there early in the season, so we understand how that is going to be. It is going to be a hard game. Now, if you remember back at the beginning of the season, when Brendan Rodgers lost the League Cup at Kilmarnock, a lot of fans then were saying Brendan Rodgers shouldn't be back at Celtic. He's not got it. He's past it. Look what he did at Leicester. He ruined Leicester. And he shouldn't be anywhere near Celtic Park. And I said, just give the man time, because even then, when you look at the crisis, if you look at the headlines back then, it was all crisis talks at Celtic. Celtic in crisis mode. Celtic crisis manager. Even Brendan Rodgers spoke about it at Christmas time. He said, look, since I've came here, we've been in constant crisis if you look at the headlines of the media. But it was teething problems. We did have a lot of players out injured, and a crazy amount of players out injured at the time in defence. We had lost what was turns out to be a half decent defender. We were left with Liam Scales in defence and Nat Phillips. Yes, Nat Phillips. And at this moment, we take time to remember those dark days of the season. But Brendan Rodgers did say at the beginning of the season, he says, look, to the doubters, they do not want me back. Come stand here on the footsteps. And I have reiterated this, I know this, over the course of the past few weeks, because people have said to me, even on the channel, said, Baz, it's all fine and good, you getting all excited and slating them when their mishaps happen. Don't get too cocky and wait till we're over the line. Well, sometimes you've been around football long enough to just know that you're going to get it over the line. You're going to get it over the line. This team has what it takes. Brendan Rodgers has what it takes. Callum McGregor has what it takes, and so does the likes of James Forrest, who have been fantastic servants for the club over the years. It's going to be a dark, dark day when the likes of Callum McGregor and James Forrest leave the club, let's face it, because there's nobody really coming through at the moment that has that same level of love for the club that both those players have had over the years. But Callum McGregor did say there was a little bit of tension in the stadium yesterday in the second half. He said that was expected. He says, we got the penalty, we should probably have put the game to bed then. And the manager spoke about that. He said, as good as this team are, he said they really need to know how to put games to bed. And there was a lot of missed opportunities yesterday. If we'd scored a lot of our opportunities, it would have been a scoreline like one of those back in the day when he was here the first time, even one when it was under Martin O'Neill era, where it was an absolute scalping of the Huns. But we're going for a league title, says Callum McGregor. It means so much to everybody. The momentum changes the game. I spoke to the lads in the change room and they handled it very well. They dug in, they fought, they made blocks, they made tackles. In the last 10, 15 minutes, they were outstanding. And it's such a vital ingredient if you're going to be a successful team, says Callum. And he knows all about that. Callum McGregor is the player that's had to build players up this season and make sure that he builds the players up. He's not been really used to that at his time at Celtic. But since he's become captain, he's become that person. Usually he's had players around him over the years that make sure that Callum gets up to the standard that everyone expects. O'Reilly says overcoming Rangers, he says a lot of the time it feels like relief, to be honest, as well, because you're not there yet. We've not won anything as yet, but we've put ourselves in a position to hopefully finish it off. It's nice to see everyone smiling. The weather was good and it was such a good day. O'Reilly and McGregor are probably the best two players that we have in our midfield. The fact that we're probably going to lose O'Reilly this summer is a little bit unthinkable at the moment. And let's hope Celtic can pull out any strings that they can to try and hold him for the Champions League. Because let's face it, we now, yes, are going into the Champions League next season. Remember those days last summer where we spoke about the Champions League and we've done the draw live? Can't wait to do that video again. And yes, I did get a bit overexcited at the draw when we did it last at the beginning of the season. And the reason I got excited because it was probably the easiest draw on paper that we've had for a long, long time. We didn't expect young players to come in and make silly tackles. You didn't expect Dice Maida to get sent off. And you didn't expect the one and only Gustav Lagerbielke to score a goal from a header in the Champions League. But it was what it was. The club is now boasting the brand new Barrowfield Stadium complex, putting the roof on, as they said. They now need to put the roof on Celtic Park. And by that, I mean bringing in players that are of a standard that can make sure that we hold our own in the Champions League and do not get humiliated with a lot of younger players, which happened last year, I feel. And a lot of fans now feel, look, it's in time to start investing in this team. And for one, yes, I'm a believer of bringing the young players through, and you need to bleed. And even the manager has spoken about it over the next couple of days. And let's talk about this in a live in about an hour or so. The manager spoke about that young players expect an 18, 19-year-old to walk straight into the first team. That's not going to happen. You need a football education. If you want to go to the very top of your game, he said, just like Callum McGregor, when he was here the first time round, he says Callum McGregor had went out on loan. Callum McGregor goes out and gets his football education, and that's what we want players to do at Celtic. If you do not understand the concept of a football education and you think that you should be in the first team, you probably aren't going to make it at Celtic, and you could probably go somewhere else and try and make it as in the first team of somewhere at a lower league. And let's face it, a lot of these young guys just go for chasing the money. How many young players that has left Celtic, apart from Ben Doak recently, how many players that have spat the dummy out and left Celtic have gone on to greatness? Not too many over the years, not too many. And I'd had this conversation with my brother and a few other mates, and the only one that we can think of recently is really Ben Doak. He left Celtic and he pretty much walked into the Liverpool first team. He got played and then he got injured. He has had an unfortunate end to the season, but it is what it is. It's only one in a numerous amount of players that have left Celtic over the years. So it's not there yet. We're a bit over the line. We can get really excited on Wednesday. Jack Butland probably had the game of his life for them at stages. I think he was lucky to get one. I think it was with his arm early on. Just imagine the score what it would have been. But it was a nervy ending for Celtic. It always is. With 7 minutes added, you're thinking, Jesus, are they going to hit a sucker punch like they did before? Obviously, when you represent Celtic, Matt O'Reilly says, you know the weight of that, and it comes with a massive club. It means so much to so many people around the world. Personally, I try not to look at it as a weight, says Matt O'Reilly. He says you look at it more as an enjoyment perspective. You can bring a lot of love and joy into people's life if you do things well, especially at this club. We try to express ourselves on the pitch. We try to make people smile. Yesterday was perfect for that, said Matt O'Reilly. And that's all I do on this channel, trying to make you smile. Make sure you join me for a live in about an hour or so where we can talk about yesterday in a bit more in depth, get your feelings about the last two remaining games of the league and the Scottish Cup final come the 25th of May. I'm looking forward to that game so much, because to see the faces on their fans' face when we win that double, sweet tears. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.